Please rise well. But please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. All the supervisors are here. Here. Could you pass me that public comment paper, please, Bob? Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Mike Barnum?
I don't think anything's working.
Nothing works.
Just talk loud.
I have an easy request. Most buildings have, you can't smoke within 10 feet of a door or something. It smells like a dive bar in here. Can we like get something, you smoke, like go over there or something? 'Cause the door's open, it just sucks it all in here. Easy request.
I think to a sign or something that says,
I think there may be some
it might be.
statute or something about smoking.
Yeah, but
I can look into
so many
putting a
feet
sign
from
out
a
there
door or
to
something.
It's a bad habit anyway.
stand.
Thanks.
Kevin Dare. Kevin Dare? What? Are we switching around? Is Mr. Dare not speaking today?
No, I'll sign in.
No, he's gonna speak.
Well,
Yeah,
you're already signed
in.
in, you
Oh, I
just were
am?
after Mr. Dare, so I didn't
Oh.
know if he was,
I guess
He
I'm
can,
going first.
he can speak first. I'm not
okay.
ready.
Go ahead, Mr. Charles Trice.
Thank you. 87 Cardox Road, Charles Springs. I'm just here to speak on the grain garden you guys are proposing for 87 Cardox Road or right around that area. I just found out about it the other day whenever the agenda came out that you guys were gonna vote on it tonight. I'm here to address it concerning the MS4 as it pertains to Cardox Road. I talked to TJ earlier today and had a conversation with him this afternoon about what was going on and how things were progressing. I feel there's a better way to do this. I feel we don't need to go down this route that we went down a couple years ago. Dennis, I can't imagine you really want to go down the route again.
About what, I mean, about.
Cardox Road,
I don't know anything about, talk about the rain garden?
the rain garden.
I don't know much about it, to be frank with you.
Okay. There's a lot of other programs and places you can put a rain garden rather than my place, if it's gonna be on my place.
Is it on your property?
We haven't confirmed that yet, but,
I'll be
It's
honest with
perfect.
you, as far as the vote tonight, TJ did call me this afternoon and asked a request to table it because there was a thought that it might be on yours. So there's
I
not,
appreciate that.
I'm just letting you know
Um,
up front. He said that what we planned was on a different partial, but he did tell me that you called him this afternoon and said that this may be your property.
Yes.
And he did suggest that maybe we table this tonight because of that.
If it's on his property and he doesn't agree, we can't do it.
We were
Correct.
told when we started the process and put this on the agenda, we were told it was someone else's property. Mr. Trax called TJ today and said, hey, it may be actually on my property. And TJ called me and said, you may wish to table this until it is 100% known if it's Mr. Trax's property.
It is on your property?
I don't know that.
He believes
I-
it's a
I'm assuming that
possibility
just
it
from
might
talking
be.
with TJ.
But we can't do anything until we know whose property it's on. If it's
Sure.
on your property, you'd have to agree to it, otherwise.
I completely understand that. But I guess you guys put in for the DEP for this? It's moved forward one step?
We did.
So we obviously
Part of our
have an idea
schedule.
where this is going. Am I correct?
Because at the time, we were told it was someone else's property that we were talking to.
Gotcha.
But now that you have stated that there's a possibility this property may be yours,
Okay. I
he has to
appreciate it.
table that item until that's settled.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
so
I'm
we
assuming,
won't go any further.
I'm assuming he has bins on his property to show where the property line is.
Yes, yes.
So we'd have to,
I had it surveyed when Mr. Rauscher
okay.
bought his, that's whenever I had it surveyed.
So if we made an application for DEP, it's on his property.
TJ stated we just have to have it in that watershed, we can move it.
Actually, there's, and I was talking to TJ and he can comment a little bit more. It doesn't have to be in that watershed. You can go Huck 12, he can entertain that for you and go down that rabbit hole. It absolutely doesn't have to be in that watershed. You can take it somewhere else.
Is that accurate, TJ?
It's been done other places. Again, well, let me first say, the rain garden is a concept at this point.
Right.
There's been no design, there's been no real engineering work done to figure out a location, to figure out a size, etc. Our office put together a pollution reduction plan amendment document, which the township submitted in March of 2024, which identified some additional stormwater, water quality projects to help us make up our deficit for sediment and nutrient removal from the previous permit cycle. So, and Mr. Trax is right, one of the projects is a rain garden for the Cardox Road area. And it's basically a concept at this point. The concept to place it in the vicinity, whether it's Mr. Trax's property or his neighbor's property, we're still figuring that out, obviously with Mr. Trax's help. But that location, the location for that concept was picked because that's what had been identified before in the previous pollution reduction plan, to do it at that set of inlets on Cardox Road. So that's why we had set it up that way.
Who drafted that plan?
Bankson did, our office did.
I believe the only thing we had on Cardox was socks. They were supposed to be
Inlet
in,
filters,
not a rain garden of any type, so.
How does that affect, if we don't use that same area, the phosphorus requirement we have with the DEP?
Well, we still have to meet our minimum removal. It's most straightforward if we do the project in the Piney Fork area, because we can clearly make that representation then. But, and I think this is the point Mr. Trax was getting at, you can do projects in other areas and other watersheds to offset, certain places, as long as basically it's all within the same Huck watershed.
Would it be a one-to-one situation?
Yeah. But typically that requires DEP's review and their approval before they're gonna let you do that.
Has DEP reviewed and approved this yet?
They've received it. We've not received any feedback from them on the PRP at this point.
Would it be prudent to put a hold on it till we clarify his situation?
And that's what TJ had called after Mr. Trax called him today and said we may want to table this item on the agenda because of Mr. Trax's phone call.
That was my suggestion.
And if I can also give suggestions, maybe keep him in the loop.
Sure, I gave him my cell
Yeah, they
phone
seem
number.
to have met and
We'll talk, I'm gonna get him a
exchanged
survey,
conversations.
the whole thing. Yeah, there's just that piece where you're talking, if I ever wanted, not that I'll ever develop it, but if my son ever wants to develop it, I'm gonna live and die there. But if he wants to develop it, you're taking my ingress and egress. It's just, I can't go down below because it's all swamp.
Right.
And that's my in and out. So,
Yeah, we had no intention at the time to make such a big decision. We were under the understanding it was somebody else's property and they were okay with it.
Okay.
But it's so infantile in the stages and stuff that nothing's really, but.
do you have to do all 4 of those projects? The two El Rama, the one Jason Park, and a Cardox, or and a?
Yeah, to replace the inlet filtering, yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It was
that deficient. I would have never guessed that.
It was, we collected, I think, 3 months worth of data, I believe. Well, I believe the filters are still in now, at least most of them.
They're still doing them, yeah.
But yeah, there was a dramatic discrepancy.
Chuck, we're way behind on our
Dramatic deficit.
requirements.
Sure, sure.
So Bankson came up with this idea to make up the deficit.
One project I could think of would be Brownsville Park. You have a beautiful little creek going down through there and you guys own it. You could beautify that with a water garden, rain garden,
We're
whatever.
talking Jason or
No,
I think he's
Brownsville.
talking,
one veteran?
Veterans, I'm sorry.
I see.
Whenever I was young, it was Brownsville.
Yeah.
yeah, we call it the
Because
soccer
there's-
fields.
Same deal.
There's a possible project for Jason
Here's one
Street.
for Jason.
Mhm.
And I just for everybody's clarity here, we did send letters to the property owners before we sent in the pollution reduction plan, notifying them that we've identified part of or a portion of their property for a potential stormwater project. Obviously, nothing's concrete at the time of sending in the PRP amendment, nothing's been designed. And I'll double check my records, but I think we sent one to you.
You did.
Just in the event that it was on your side of the
You
line.
did. How many of those did you send out? Curiosity.
Chuck, we would've sent them to anybody where a project was planned,
Okay.
so,
When did you send it out?
8 months ago or so.
yeah, it would've been around or right before the plan was submitted, I believe, right? It would've been that March timeline.
Exactly.
Can I ask you a final question?
Please.
I know that rain garden that we discussed satisfied our phosphorus reporting requirements for that particular water stream.
That's right.
Now, is that water stream, if it isn't in that same area again, does that negate or complicate our reporting requirement?
The area, maybe
So
the water.
you're saying if we did a project somewhere else, would it be more complicated to report? Is that
No,
what you're asking?
I'm looking at the satisfaction of the DEP requirement.
Yeah,
Can we
Move
put
it
it
around, I
anywhere
don't
in that
care where you put
watershed,
it.
so,
and I think that's
The problem.
That's what needs to be reviewed and approved by DEP, but I think you can do a project, as long as it's within the same HUC 12 watershed, you can do a project elsewhere and have it offset
Okay.
requirements for a different, like, say Peters Creek versus Pine Fork. I think you
Yeah, I
can do that,
You
but
can.
DEP needs to approve that.
Okay.
And your HUC 12 watershed's pretty good. It's a, if you Google it, you'll see a map, an interactive map. You can see exactly how big it is.
Yeah, that was the reason, Chuck, that we were interested, this property owned.
and there was
that's
already a
another
pipe
property.
there, thought that,
Yeah, it's right
and
there.
it really seemed
That
kinda
was-
simple until today. Really, I mean, it just, yeah, it wasn't really anything, it wasn't that deep, it was just, there was already a pipe there was already drainage there. Thought we put in a rain garden and that would fill the thing, and
that was
then
the
your
reason
concerns
behind
were
it.
raised and,
Thank you.
And obviously, I think that everybody here is aware if the township's gonna do a project on private property, we would need to get a complete design and then approach that landowner to enter into an easement agreement and identify operation and maintenance obligations and so forth, but we just got nowhere near that point. We're at the very, very infancy of the concept at the time.
Anything else, Chuck?
Thank you very much.
Just like I said, we can't put something in your property without.
Oh, I know that. I just wanted to ask.
yeah. Yeah, it
Fair
was
enough.
just, there was a water pipe, a drainage pipe there, it was in the right watershed, it was already draining water. Thought it was someone else's, thought we'd plant a rain garden, and then your concerns came up today, and that's as far as it's gone.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Kevin Dare?
Kevin Dare, 6187 Route 88, Findlay, PA. Just listening to that conversation, Larry, I think you said we were behind the 8 ball on this MS4
TJ can answer that better than I, but we were deficient.
or deficient,
We were deficient in that
Yep.
year,
Yep.
2022.
trying to play catch up. So, are we still deficient?
Well, that's the whole reason for putting in the pollution reduction plan amendment, to transition to doing some different water quality improvement projects so that we don't have to continue with the inlet filtering. essentially. So, to answer your question directly, none of those projects have been implemented yet because they're still under review by DEP. So, we're still continuing on with the inlet filtering until the amendment is approved, and then we can implement those projects. Hopefully that answers your question.
Have the inlet filters all been put in?
It's my understanding
I
that
believe they are, Kevin,
Put
and
them
we
in.
still remove the sediment, we have it deposited
Weigh
up
it,
at the
measure
dike
it.
site. We dry it, we weigh it, and we turn in the documentation, and TJ's provided the DEP.
When did they have to be put in? Was there a deadline on that?
They needed to demonstrate their sediment and nutrient removal by, well, it would have been 5 years after
Right.
2019, so that would have been June of 2024.
Last year.
Okay, so let me ask you this, this rain garden, sounds like it's pretty expensive.
No,
Is it, no,
Maybe,
it's not?
why don't you explain to him what a rain garden is?
It's a fancy term for a stormwater pond, basically.
Okay.
It's a stormwater pond with certain plantings and
Certain-
soil mixes and that sort of thing.
Okay. Is there other options that you have that would give you the credit with the DEP for mitigation on the stormwater on EMS4 that you can consider or do?
Yes.
Other than spend, that would be cheaper for the taxpayers?
I don't know about cheaper, it was pretty,
What would it cost of this, what would it cost of a normal?
the rain garden was budgeted by Banks in $77,000. Sat down and looked at it preliminary because we don't have finite drawing. We probably could do it in-house, 25, 30 grand, which is a big savings because that's all unfunded mandates required on an MS4 program. So it comes out of taxpayers' pockets. So that's the premise behind it. It's very simple design. It satisfies our phosphorus requirements for that tributary that runs through there. Unfortunately, maybe a complication where the location is. But going by the numbers that Banks and Engineering put together, looking at what preliminary drawings, et cetera, we could do it for a significant less amount of money. And we can do it in-house.
In-house.
Which is cheap.
Well, let me ask you this, after this rain garden is put in, is there maintenance that's required on this rain garden? Is there, like, how often does it need to be maintained? And does it, is it like a reoccurring thing with the DEP?
So there'd be an O&M, operation and maintenance schedule, that we would set forth that DEP would approve, and we'd have landscaping obligations and, cleaning out sediment, that sort of thing. There'd be routine maintenance involved, yeah.
There would be like a set schedule of that.
Yeah, usually it's biannually for most ponds like that.
Big project, little project, do we have to sub
To
it
go-
out, or
To
do
go
we do
clean
it?
it out, I would think the road crew would be capable.
It's clean the vegetation out, is 99% of it. We have an obligation, Banks and Engineers inspects all the retention ponds in the township. There's some that, in fact, I suggested one, the developer should put in escrow money into these developments. So we have those financial resources to go clean the pond out in 2 or 3 years. I don't know how far that's gotten, but it's something we need to do, because that's a issue that we have forever, okay? The road crew inspected some of these ponds, some of them need some attention, I'll leave it go at that, So is it fair for taxpayers, you, to pay for this pond that somebody else created and has an obligation for? So that's an aside, but the point is, I don't think it's that expensive of an endeavor to go in there and clean things out like that.
it's one of the cheapest options. I mean, there was the filter bags, and
Right.
there was the rain gardens, and it really went up from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're other than doing the inlet filtering, you're gonna be spending money on some type of a construction project, whether
Right.
that's
I think Upper
stream
St.
bank
Clair maybe putting
restoration,
10 of
whether
these.
it's,
Right.
a rain
Just a
garden,
common-
that sort of
Right.
thing.
So
There's
one-
gonna be some capital costs associated with doing any
Exactly.
project that you need to do. And to Larry's point, it's
We're mandated.
an unfunded mandate.
one last question.
Sure.
Well, actually two. So, once this rain garden is put in on whoever's property it is,
Mhm.
does the township retain ownership of that rain garden?
Typically, that's what I've seen. Yes, Kevin. Yeah, the township would own it, they would maintain it. That's why we would get permanent easement for it. It'd be the township's obligation, not the property owner.
Okay.
Yeah, but they passed this law a number of years ago because they forced different townships or governmental agencies to implement this. So they saddled it on the municipalities.
And by no way do we have the power to eminent domain someone for a rain garden, so that's not gonna happen, it's just gonna be
Yep.
dealing with a property owner, and
Yeah.
negotiating.
But it's the
Yeah.
state that did this a few years back.
Exactly.
I was just concerned that it would go back, and it's different from a retention pond for
Sure.
like a private development or something like that. So
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
township would be responsible for that rain garden forever and ever, for as long as DEP says.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's, unfortunately, that's the township's obligation, right? They're the MS4 permittee, they're the ones responsible for the separate storm sewer system,
Right.
and, this is an extension of that, basically, so.
I think that's actually been since the 80s. It's just becoming stricter and stricter and stricter, like everything else we do environmentally. It's the way it is.
It's MS4 is a complicated program, it's a significant burden on
It is.
It's like the filter
municipalities.
bags, we'd have to do those
Um,
forever and ever.
And, it's something that everybody's working through, but we should
Thank you, Kevin.
document all this because these are good. I've
Yeah,
never gotten
this
this
is
many,
part of-
this
this
many
is part of
MS4.
your MS4 requirement is to do
Can you take
education
credit
on
for it?
I
MS4.
think we can.
Yeah, we
I
can
mean,
take
can you
credit
take
for.
credit for the
We should.
conversation?
We
Yep,
should.
we do.
Just tell DEP that we're,
We'll document
we're on
it.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
education
Glad to
on
help.
MS4 is all part of the requirements, so
That's
good.
right.
We
That's
got one down.
Public participation.
Public
right here.
participation, not to be
Appreciate it.
filled in on a slot.
Make a note, TJ.
Yeah.
Alright. That is all the public comments for the evening. Announcements. So, I was approached by a couple of board members. There was a information gathering meeting last Thursday that a couple of the supervisors feel may have went into an executive session type thing after I left. So I don't know what the consensus of the board was because I left.
I
But-
don't think it was that.
Was the consensus that possibly there was more of an there was some executive session after?
Am I right? I missed something.
Okay, so, that was my question about
Maybe
that.
there is, I don't remember that.
We can always, yeah, I don't know, I left, so I don't know. So, the township reports, being that we have this meeting tonight after the reorg, we don't have we don't have the police report. They didn't know we were gonna have a meeting after, so I had, put in an email to you guys that we're gonna hold off on reports till the next meeting because we have to gather them all. Except for TJ had an engineer's report.
We submitted our report, I think it was Friday. The updates are in bold, so any questions on that? I'd be happy to answer those. I think I just got one update from what's on the report contents there. We submitted grant applications to Washington County Local Share Account. The Local Share Account Board does project briefings in January. Just an opportunity for these applicants to get in front of the board and explain their project. Usually they're very short, 5 to 10 minutes at the most. And Bankson has been working with the folks over at the county to get these scheduled. So our project briefings will be Wednesday the 15th at 12:55 p.m. and 1 p.m. So I went to these last year and, you know, answered the handful of questions that the board had about our projects that we applied for last year. I will do that again this year. Thanks, and I'll send a couple people because we have a number of clients that made applications to the LSA. So just wanted to put this on your radar, the 15th at 12:55 and 1. If any of you would like to go, you're certainly more than welcome to. I don't think you have to.
What do they have to do?
It's at the county building, I believe. It's in downtown Washington. I can give you the specifics, but that's about it in terms of engineering items. The rest of my items are on the agenda. Any questions?
Oh, I don't have any comments.
I'd like to know, we talked before about EQT. Is there a chance of getting somebody in there that knows about the project that they propose? Like the project manager or a vice president, that could provide somewhat of a schedule, answer some questions.
I think they want to schedule a meeting with us. I thought we were supposed to have a meeting amongst ourselves. And as the holidays came about, you know, basically December's always wasted by the holidays, but, do you wanna have a meeting, like an information meeting or executive session just with us and then have them in? That's what we talked about before.
Well, last I recall, there were some questions about their conditional use. And are you gonna notify them of?
Yes.
Okay.
And we talked about Lobster Road, paving it with them work. I just think we need to get some information that has some details in it.
So what you,
Other than those ladies that come and tell us about it.
okay,
Because
so,
they're midstream and they're not the run
Exactly,
this and that.
exactly, so.
if we meet, they wanna meet, I think we should meet with them in the evening because of schedules here for people.
Whenever.
Okay.
So when we get to, I don't know how the board would feel about it, but when we get to item A here on new business, we'll be having a joint meeting. We could possibly do something before that, like,
It's
I
fine.
hate to bring TJ and the solicitor here like 4 days, and so maybe we can do something the same day but before.
Okay,
You know, we can arrange something to have an EQT informational, to
Well-
like explain whether or not,
An
we have
internal
questions about-
meeting?
well, we have questions about their conditional use and whether or not the process has to
so
be
what,
continued, but we don't know because we don't know the answers to the questions that we
I
have.
agree.
so why don't we
Whether
do
they're
this?
meeting or not meeting their conditional use.
So
Okay.
for item A, I talked to some of the board members about having a meeting in the evening, like after 6 o'clock, on either 14th,
Well,
20th.
that's going into what, new business here?
Right, that's what I thought we were at, but what do I know?
Okay. Well, I was gonna announce that everybody has their supervisor meeting minutes from December 11th in their packet. It is not on the agenda. Whether I overlooked it, but we're not voting on it tonight, but just, you know, take the time, look over it, we'll be on the next agenda. Okay. I was actually gonna put, that gentleman, I was gonna move the agenda around, yeah.
He was supposed to bring you pizza
Well,
to do that.
usually, as everyone knows, I try to put anybody who has a paid professional here that they're paying, I try to move around the agenda to
It's fine.
get,
Can we go back to EQT thing now?
meeting with, having an information gather meeting when we do the PCSA meeting. That's what he was.
Yeah, I
So we
don't,
can finish item A, let's finish item A and then we'll bring him up.
that's fine.
So
Whatever
item
you
A
do.
is let me at least read it. Discussion and motion to authorize the solicitor to coordinate a joint meeting with PCSA dealing with Sneed Ridge. Okay, so part of the conversation, the solicitor reach out to EQT and have an informational gathering meeting about their conditional use stuff, requirements.
extra pipes.
Can we
the same day,
request
but maybe
somebody
earlier.
knows what's going on
Yes,
the job
yes.
here,
Alright,
not a salesman?
correct, I agree.
So the PCSA meeting probably would be a public meeting with their board and our board,
Right.
so we'd have to advertise it, right?
Yeah,
Okay, then before that, maybe we can do a informational gathering meeting with EQT to get some concrete answers to whether or not they're meeting their conditional use or not, for some of the items.
so,
Thank you.
so we were looking at 3 dates. January 14th with PCSA, January 23rd with PCSA, and January 29th with PCSA. The 14th is a Tuesday, The 23rd is a Wednesday. The 29th is a Wednesday.
And so far, me, Suzanne, and Sean, during the break here, said that we're good whenever, so it's down to, you guys have any preferences?
No.
Do you have any preferences? Any of those dates don't work for you? Oh, 29th.
So
We're
the
off on
14th and the 23rd are good for you?
Okay, so 29th's off the table. So if he presents that to Phil Bonato, Peters Creek Sanitary, to ask him which either one of those dates would be good for their board, we would, all of us would be fine with it,
Yes.
and then you could get back to us on which one they pick.
So tomorrow morning, I'll send an email, the 14th and the 23rd.
Well, as soon as we make this motion, authorize
As soon as you make that motion.
it. Okay. I make a motion to authorize the solicitor coordinated joint meeting with PCSA dealing with the Sneed Road Bridge. Any second?
Second.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, as a corollary issue, I'll also contact EQ, we'll also maybe get a time with PCSA, and maybe we can meet before that to go over the EQT situation.
Get some information from him regarding that.
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Larry? Do it that way? Both the same day?
I just think we need to have somebody that knows what the hell is going on with what they're gonna do, so we can talk about it and answer questions. Talk
Okay.
about money.
Okay, so
Whatever
if you
comes
guys
up.
feel, I'm gonna do B really quick, just because it's such a quick one, and then he's on the agenda anyway. Electricity installation by the utility company at the block building at the Nike site. So you guys all got a cost for electricity for Allegheny Power for the project that we had discussed a couple meetings in a row now. So that is a standard utility company cost. As soon as I find it here, to put electric service and a meter, electric meter, whatever, at that property. Oh, there we go. The cost is $3,258.46. And that would be for West Penn Power to put a utility to the Nike site property in general. That wouldn't be the getting an electrician or whatever we decide to do there. It's just getting an electric service to that property, standard amount by West Penn Power. It's what they charge for new services.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Larry made the motion. Suzanne second. And that is a motion to put electric service with West Penn Power in the amount of $3,258.46 to West Penn Power. Any more conversation about it? Anyone?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
I heard everyone, so no opposed. Motion and discussion. Motion, I messed up the agenda. Okay. Motion and discussion to approve or deny the Walter Long lot line revision application. Planning Commission recommended to approve on 12/16/2024. So this is Walter Long Road.
Yep. Okay, so, so this application was submitted, it's a lot line revision application. I printed a few copies of the drawings just so that you folks can see here. I know that, Mr. Kennedy, who's here on behalf of Kevin Braun, I'll give him a chance to maybe comment and explain a little bit about what the purpose is for the lot line revision.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Scott Kennedy. I'm here for the purpose of this lot line revision is to get control of Walter Long Road, have it transfer into the developer's name, and also to widen it sufficiently so that when the point in time comes that this road can be turned over to the township, we have the 50 feet, as we were told is required by the township ordinance, so that you can get your fuels tax. So the purpose of the lot line revision is to create essentially the 50-foot right-of-way It is wider in some other places than others, but the minimum width on this is the 50 feet. And what we intend to do, once this revision is approved, is we're going to transfer title to Braun Holdings Mineral Beach, which is the owner of the proposed development. And that way, they'll have control of the road, they'll have the ability, as I said, down the road to, if the township should take the road over, they'll be able to get their liquid fuels tax.
Is there an issue on some utilities being under that road?
Yes, and that's, so it's important to note that Kevin Braun, the developer for this project, has submitted subdivision, plat, and land development plans for what he's calling phase 1 of his Mineral Beach plan. This subdivision, and I don't want to speak out of turn, Scott, but this subdivision is in some ways a prerequisite to the phase 1 subdivision and land development. As Scott mentioned, the purpose of this is to establish essentially the road dedication area, which has been a major concern of Bankston's from the beginning, that allows Mr. Braun to be able to demonstrate that he has the proprietary interest to do what he's requesting to do in terms of improvements to Walter Long Road.
So the turnaround at the top of it's almost contiguous with the long manufacturing. I see there's like that, we'll call it a pimple for lack of better words.
Proposed cul-de-sac, right?
Is that going to be sufficient enough liquid fuels?
Yes.
Width of that?
Now, this goes down to the culvert, the little bridge.
Yes, and it includes correct me if I'm wrong, but it includes the entire area.
All the way to 88.
All the way to Route 88.
Yes.
So
And we're fully aware that highway occupancy and all of that sort of thing's on us. We understand that. I think I don't want to commit to anything, but they're aware that there's utilities there, and I think if they have to be relocated, there's probably going to be plans for that. The 50 feet, as I've been told, is what is the minimum required right-of-way, but the actual road itself is, I think, what, 28?
24 feet
24.
plus 18-inch wedge curve on either side, so 27 feet total.
27 feet total, but you have to have the 50 of the
For the
right-of-way
right-of-way.
so you can get the liquid fuels tax. That's my understanding, and I think, Dennis, when I met with you back in August, I think you actually indicated that was what the statute said to me, or not the statute, but the local
It's an
ordinance.
ordinance. right?
Yes.
I think their approval
I think-
was,
okay,
you know,
so-
township's tax.
And again, I wasn't here for the planning commission, I was someplace else having fun, I guess. Where's the lot line shift, so I can, where is the shift? Scott, you can show it?
The gray hatched area, Dennis, is on the road dedication
road.
table.
There's
Is-
88 here. This
Okay.
kind of connects here.
Right, so what do we, so where's this lot line shift?
It's in here. You'll see there's the old lot line, deed line on the slash,
Okay,
and you'll see some of this says deed line right
okay,
here for, I think that's Finney. We don't need to take but and then down to here.
Going from there to over here.
Right, it's
So you're going
relocating the
from here
line.
Dotted
to
line
there.
to this stuff.
It's
Okay.
relocating the lot line so that this road is created so that we can convey it.
and since I wasn't here for planning commission, so basically, we're shifting the deed line to the edge of the proposed right-of-way line.
Correct.
And that property was owned by the church, right?
Church and Walter Long. From our title search,
Walter Long Manufacturing.
Walter Long Manufacturing and the church own all of the property that's being changed.
And just so I understand, so basically, they're the applicants here.
They are, based on the applicants actually is Walter Long and the church.
All right.
And Kevin Braun is under separate agreement with both of those
So
entities.
basically, they'll make the application.
So wait a second, I have a question. There was a request on the escrow to take the deed for this out of what Kevin Braun already escrowed. But if he's not the applicant, can we do that?
I think you'd have to get his okay to do that.
We'd have to get Walter.
What was your?
So Kevin Braun has sent an email asking that, since he already has an escrow, can the costs and so forth for this be taken out of his escrow? But if he's not the applicant,
So
and
we,
they are the applicant, I was just asking like a legal question.
so if you can communicate with Kevin Braun and just say basically that since the applicant here is the church and Long Brothers, whoever, that, you know, that we can access his escrow fee or.
Well, he's actually making the request by email anyway. Somebody by email is making
We
the request.
would, I would assume he's still willing to do that. don't
But I
think
want
he's-
something in writing saying
Yes,
that.
I get that.
Cause I don't,
No, we don't want to have you take it out without his permission.
Normally when
I
we
get it.
make the approvals, we say conditioned upon all of the fees and so forth. And as soon as he said, or you guys said that the applicant was actually Walter Long in the church, we're about to make a thing saying, but
that's why I'm asking the
can we
question.
take,
Right.
can we take the escrow from Kevin
Well, you
Braun?
better have something in writing from him.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll
We're gonna
get
need
you
that.
that.
Okay,
And if you want to make that a condition of approval,
That will be a
that's fine.
specific condition of the approval.
Okay.
yeah.
So the ownership of that acreage of the culvert, has that been?
We're not taking any of that yet. We're just moving a lot.
This is before all that.
See,
Yeah,
what's
this is
happening,
moving
the
along.
applicant here is Long Manufacturing and the church. So they're they made an application to change
All the way down to that.
the,
Probably
Deed,
anticipation to turn it over to his client.
No, that's exactly what it's for.
So
We have to
this is so
create
that
something that we can
they
convey.
can turn it over to Kevin Braun. They're not turning it over to the township yet. They're turning it over to Kevin Braun. And for Kevin Braun to want it, it's gonna have to change this.
Well, what we
For him to
decided,
be able to use it, yeah, I'm sorry.
we were actually looking, no pun intended, down the road. We,
Down the road.
we needed the 50 feet, we knew we needed the 50 feet, so we knew in order to clarify and kind of get this under control the way
Yeah,
it needed
Kevin
to be.
Braun doesn't want what's there, he wants what's there plus a little bit more.
Right. He-
So
we
conveyed
want
to
the
him
full
so that
50
he can
feet.
bring it up to township specs and turn it over to the
so,
township.
so the applicant, or those two entities, somewhere down the road, those applicants are going to convey that portion of property to Kevin Braun.
That's exactly why we're doing this.
So that will be a second portion of this second condition we will have.
And then Kevin Braun will pave it and bring it up to township specs or whatever in anticipation for the township to take it from him.
That's the plan,
That's
yeah.
the player.
And I believe that the agreements, and I've only read the agreements once, but I believe the agreements that Kevin has between his entity and the church and the manufacturing company states that
They're gonna convey.
they will be conveying that property to him.
They're actually being relieved of some obligations here by doing that. Kevin's gonna take over the road, maintenance of the road, plowing of the road, that sort of thing, even before he constructs a new.
Are these
So-
is this an extra copy here, by the way?
I printed those copies for the board, yes.
I have the planning commission's.
I'm gonna take this with me.
But, yeah,
So-
so,
I have a question, not to
no, go ahead.
interrupt or complicate matters, but the one lot, and this is a question for Dennis primarily, but the one lot is bisected by the municipal boundary. It's partially in, the Long Brothers parcel is within both Peters and Union, so should our subdivision be contingent upon Peters' review and approval of this as well?
I don't think the road goes
The
into
road
Peters.
doesn't, so I think he,
The lot lines aren't changing there, but the parcel
I
is
don't think
partially in.
if we were dealing with the parcel, all we're doing is with the road in the township, correct?
Mhm.
Now, I
but
know,
he's saying the road is on the same partial number as this. And this is partway in
no,
this,
what he
is
said,
his
what
question, I
he's
think.
saying, cause I had this with Canton Township in the it's called the Bronson House or something over there. The question was over there, we were subdividing property, and part of the property was in, city of Washington. Most of the property was, Canton Township, so I don't think we would need that.
But he's not saying subdivision, he said that right now, this is part of a
He's-
partial that's part of both.
He's talking about plan review by them, is that what you're talking about?
That's my question. I mean, the parcel is assessed in Union. It's, all of the revisions to the lot are within Union. However, the parcel is,
Partly.
Partially.
And I'm
in
sure
Peters
his
as well.
intention is to break this off and make it not part of this partial anyway.
I have seen, and I don't know that this is a legal answer to your question, but I have seen subdivisions of lots where the entire subdivision is within a particular municipal entity, even though the lot may be in another, and it doesn't
That's what I had,
Doesn't
that's what I had,
necessarily
that's what I had the
require.
Bronson
And I
House.
think that's what's happening. I
That's
know
why
that's
I'm
what's
asking
happening
the
here.
question.
Everything's all within,
I don't see a need for that, because the we're not subdividing any of the property. No, I don't see a need for that this time.
None of the lot lines in Peters Township are changing,
No,
right?
Yeah.
All the changes to the parcel are
Happy
encompassed
farm.
within Union Township.
alright.
I just wanted to ask for your opinion on that.
I had that with Washington, with Canton Township and the Bronson House. Alright, what else, anything else, TJ?
Otherwise, we reviewed it, we had some very minor comments, we sent a letter in December. Mr. Braun's surveyor has responded to our comments, and we feel they're satisfactory, so. At this point, we'd make a recommendation that the board consider approving the subdivision.
So, okay, so is there a motion to approve?
Contingent upon the fee question being
Right.
resolved.
Correct, that's my main
And
goal.
written approval.
So motion to approve, what's it called again?
so
It's the
lot line
Walter
revision.
Long Road lot line revision.
A motion to approve the Walter Long Road lot line revision based upon the recommendation of the township engineer to, that specific condition that, Mr. Braun, submit a letter to the township, advising the township that, he consents to the use of his escrow account to reimburse the township for all reasonable engineering fees incurred with this matter. I'm watching her write. 3, that there be compliance with all the comments made by the township engineer letter dated
December 13th, 2024.
December 13th. And comply with all township rules, ordinances, regulations, etc. Okay?
Yes.
That's someone's motion?
That's my motion. Sorry.
What is that?
I do this,
Second?
I do this every night.
Carl, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, TJ.
See you next time.
Oh, by the way, thanks for bumping me up on the schedule.
Who's vice chairman? Suzanne, she's gotta go.
Yeah, lucky you. You wanted to fight.
Good night, Mr. Kennedy.
If you mark down, I have to go. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, just really shitty, actually. Here's the,
Where are we
public
at?
comment paper.
We're on, B.
D. We're gonna table D then? Is that your motion? Second? That's what he wanted to do, table that.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Who made the motion?
John?
We have to vote, right?
Correct.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, now we're on E, right?
Correct.
Okay. Authorize banks and engineers to prepare an Act 537 plan, special study for Mingo Circle planning area based on the ongoing discussions and direction from the DEP.
That's the result of our conversation.
Correct.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Larry, second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Authorize banks and engineers to prepare the 2025 Chapter 94 Waste Load Management Report for the El Rema Sewage Collection System for the 2024 reporting year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Larry, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
No
Aye.
objection, you can make a motion to pay A through E. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I was just getting,
He's not paying attention.
Okay. G, discussion and motion to approve, deny the land development plan application of Michael Mance, formerly tabled on 11/27.
We have to untable that first, right?
Mhm.
I make
Because he
a
is-
motion to untable.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Motion by Larry, second by John to untable.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to do anything with this, by the way?
he hasn't paid his fee, so I guess he hasn't paid his fee. So maybe the best thing to do is say your land application, or whatever it is being denied because you haven't paid the appropriate fee.
So make that motion then.
So now what do we do? Make a motion?
So-
The planning commission did already pass a recommendation to deny,
So,
based on lack of plan content.
but also the fact that he hasn't paid the appropriate application fee, correct?
Right.
That's correct.
It's the guy on the Philadelphia River Road. Right?
So the motion would be to deny the land development plan application of Michael Mance based upon the recommendation of the Township Planning Commission and failure to pay the appropriate application fee, correct?
Correct.
Alright, is that someone's motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Seaborn, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye. We could do all these bills at one time.
Yeah, say if you want, if you have discussion items, or any discussion
Do we
items?
have any discussion items?
No.
Now, if you wanna make a motion, Larry, we used to do the school districts, you make a motion to approve A through E unless someone has a.
Yeah.
Okay, you doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Approval of bills. I'll make a motion to approve bill